Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Secretly, everything you experience in your life is actually abundance. Once you understand how to activate abundance, you find yourself in flow with your business and clients, so it's easy to create the revenue you want. The Abundance Journey is the only show that activates abundance for you, so you enjoy rapid results in your business. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
There is a vibrant beat to life, one that's just so obvious, we pretty much tune it out. It's just kind of background noise. But this particular beat has a whole lot to tell us. Your heartbeat is actually an important conversation that can help you improve your resilience, reduce inflammation, and embrace a healthier future. The challenge is you really have to understand what it's saying. Well, that's why I am so delighted that we get to chat today with the guy who really figured this out, because he honestly speaks the universal language of the heartbeat. Dr. Torkil Færø is a general practitioner and emergency physician, a documentary filmmaker, an author, and a photographer. I mean, what this guy doesn't do is a lot shorter than what he does do. All right. In 1996, Torkil was one of the very first Norwegian medics to work for Doctors Without Borders in war-torn Angola. He spent over 25 years as a freelance doctor traveling the world. He's helped thousands of people with a huge variety of health issues. And as he was doing this work all over the world, a unique picture of the diseases that plague us was revealed. Torkil discovered that the cause is most often connected to the stresses that our lifestyles place on our bodies. Well, he immediately started researching how to monitor that stress and what is it really telling us. Torkil found that the distance between your heartbeats indicates what's happening in your autonomic nervous system. His book, The Pulse Cure, reveals the hidden power and language of your heartbeat. Tuning into this heart rate variability, it's called HRV, that can show you how your personal constitution reacts to specific stressors, which helps you tailor what you need to do to recharge and heal. Torkil, I am so grateful that you could take the time to be with us today. Welcome.
And I'm so grateful to be here, and what a lovely introduction.
Well, you have a totally unique take on the world, and I really want to do a mind meld with you. So there's a couple of different things that we're going to do back to back to just set the stage and make sure we really tune in to the brilliance that you're bringing to us today. The very first thing we're going to do is breathe together 3 times. And as we do, we're going to breathe in through the nose and think the words, I am. And as we exhale through the mouth, we think the word consciousness. So 3 times in a row, I am consciousness. And then I'm going to read an intention, which is how we want to feel and what we want to create during our time together. And then we're going to hold that in complete silence for 78 seconds, which I know seems like a long time sometimes. So there's a couple things you can do that make this a whole lot easier. What we're doing is syncing up our energy together with all of the listeners and viewers, as well as with the divine, with the God of our understanding. And this is what helps us actually experience the intention that we're creating. So a couple things, pick 2 or 3 words that just sound expansive and uplifting and repeat those over and over to yourself. The second thing I'm going to invite you to do, usually I say just check out what's happening in your body. This time, focus on your heartbeat. That's going to be a very interesting experience for all of us since we're talking about the power and the language of the heartbeat. So let's get started. Let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. In Love and Light, we hold the intention that we notice, appreciate, and acknowledge our heartbeat variability, supporting our bodies and nervous systems for optimal health and well-being. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was awesome. I've never really stopped to tune in to my heart rate like that. And as I did, it was like it was echoing and vibrating bigger throughout my whole body. And then I noticed it ping-ponging all the way through my body. Like I felt it all the way up in my head and down in my feet, all the way through. That was intense. What was that like for you, Torkil?
Yeah, I'm used to it, so I kind of felt it. I felt my heartbeat. I felt the calm. The serenity of it. So it felt really good.
This obviously is a huge passion project for you. I mean, you had this discovery, you had this epiphany, and you are just passionate about getting it out into the world. Why do we really need to understand the power, the importance, the language of heart rate variability?
That is because the heart rate variability tells us so much about our stress balance. And a poor stress balance is the root cause of so many of the diseases as we treat as doctors these days. And by nature, our heartbeats are kind of hidden from us. The noise of the heartbeat has been in the way of our other senses, throughout history. And so we have kind of ignored it. We don't really, you're not really able to listen to it. And still, underneath our chest, the heart rate can tell us so much about our state. It responds immediately to big and small stressors. Of course, big ones that you can feel immediately, and also smaller ones that go on over a long time. So the big problem is that a little raised heartbeat, as a sign of a strained system over a long time, wears us out, brings us into a situation of fatigue, and burnout and brain fog and a lot of different problems. And now that we have these wearables, we have, smartwatches, we have smart rings, we have smart bands, different devices that can track our heart rate variability while we are busy living our lives. I would not know whether I have an 85 in heart rate or 60. We're not equipped to know these things. We can discern, small shades of green, probably thousands of different colors of green. We can smell, I think it's like trillions of different smells. So we have very acute senses towards the ancient threats that came from the outside. We have literally no real sense of our inner state. So these wearables, they can help us by listening to our heart, and measuring the heartbeats, taking it into their systems, using artificial intelligence, and giving you manageable results that you can use to live your life more in balance. Because that's difficult for most of us, in these busy days. Yeah.
I love that. I love what you're saying. I recently saw a documentary. It's been out for a little bit. It's called I Am. And in the documentary, the interviewer went to the folks at Heart Math in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they study the power of the heart. They actually hook up electrodes and they monitor how much of an electronic field is generated by the heart. And it was really fascinating because they took some yogurt, a live culture of yogurt, and they put a couple of electrodes in the yogurt with a little monitor that would just measure, neutral or high or low. And then they had the guy talk about his agent, meeting with his lawyer, and every time that emotional, it would register on the monitor in the yogurt. And the message was that electronic field that we produce from our hearts all unknowingly, not only is it creating stress on us and repercussions throughout our body, it's picked up by other sentient creatures. Even yogurt is impacted by your heartbeat. I was like, wow, that's different.
Yeah. We are electrical beings, all the small and large processes in our bodies are electricity. The ECG that we measure so much as doctors is electrical potentials in the heart, the brain signals in our nerves, to our body as I move my hand. These are all electrical signals. So I think I've been paying too little attention to us being electrical beings. We can see the grounding, just by walking barefoot on the ground, exchanging electrons with the earth is healing, is reducing radical oxidation. So there's so much important things with the heart and electricity and energy, that we probably have overlooked as doctors because we haven't had the, clear results from this. Doctors tend to only see what is measurable. And this is, and the stress balance, up till now has not been measurable. That is why so many stress-related diseases and symptoms have just been discarded by the doctors, like just being in your head for some reason. But now that we can see it in the heart rate variability on the monitors at 80%, well, people already wear, we can see that the stress, leave traces, in the heart rate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it sure does. Now, before we get too far off on this tangent, because I love this, I love where you're going, and I love the work that you're doing, I have a question to ask all my guests. I always ask, this is called the abundance journey, and here you're talking about variable heart rate, something very tangible and physical. Given your passion for helping people understand how they can improve their lives by paying attention to their variable heart rate, how do you define abundance?
Define abundance. That must be what is already always around us. That is already there. We tend not to see it. I come to think of, I'm not sure if it's Nietzsche or some other person who said this, like we're sitting on a treasure chest of gold and we are begging. Because we don't see it, it's all around us all the time. So, and that is what I try to focus on in my books as well. That you don't have to look for miracles; they're all around us. It's just that we are talking, that now we're talking, across the ocean, but just the fact that we are talking, it's just 200,000 years ago that we started to talk, So and just talking in itself is a complex process, So just that is abundance to me,
Absolutely. I do have another question for you, and it's kind of funny because I usually ask, there's a struggle, there's a challenge, there's an issue that people are dealing with before they really get to this point where they start to tune into their heart. You talked about stress and all the different kinds of diseases that show up. And I'm kind of getting the impression that we all need to learn the language of the heart. It's not just when we're in struggle or strife. This is something that we really need to tap into on a regular basis.
Yeah.
how long, I mean, how long does it take to develop that relationship with yourself, with your heart, to go inside and really understand what messages are being sent to you?
That seems to go pretty quick. And I think that has been part of the reason behind the success of the book. That it has been, it has been on the bestseller list in Norway for a year and a half. It has been translated into 8 languages, or is in the process of being translated into 8 languages. And I think the reason for that is that people, when they have this instrument, they get the results, they are able to have this conversation with their bodies and their hearts, and they start understanding it immediately. There are some big factors, like alcohol, like diet and stress, that they immediately see. And then I still learn after 5-6 years something every day. There's something new every day. So it will take a long time, but you can immediately start to but it's probably like anything. If you start playing the piano or something, there will be sounds coming out of it, but it will be a long time. It's kind of the game. I remember an interview I saw with the game producer Atari, and he said that the best games are the ones that are easy to start and understand and very hard to become good at. Like football, like golf, like understanding your heart, So the principles are easy. You will understand a lot about it within the first week or two. And then it will take you maybe the rest of your life, to really become good at it.
Yeah, there's this difference between understanding a concept and really mastering it, right? Yeah, those are 2 totally different things. And the beautiful thing is it's always unfolding. There's always more for us to discover and learn and experience. So, wow, I really mind blown here with what you're doing and what you're bringing to the world, Torkil, because most of us just don't have that level of awareness. What is a technique or something that we can do to start to really notice our hearts and notice that variable heart rate?
That would be slow breathing, I would say. So if you breathe, because you can feel this difference, if you put your 2 fingers to your carotid pulse and do some slow breathing exercises, you can feel this difference in heart rate variability. That if you are then really calm and you breathe in, the heart rate will go up a little bit. And when you breathe out, the heart rate will go down a little bit. This is to save forces, because when you breathe out, there's less oxygen in the lungs. And the heart allows itself to slow down a little bit, to save some energy. And if you're in a stress state, then it will not allow itself to save that energy, because it will think that this organism needs to survive the next moment. So we need to use all the forces we have, because he might be dead, in the next few minutes. Because this is an ancient system. This is an ancient system that we share with all vertebrates, almost all living life on Earth, So this is a really old system that thinks in this. I can't say think, but reacts in these simple ways. So even just doing some slow breathing exercises where you breathe maybe 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, you can feel this if you put your hands, your fingers to your carotid artery.
I love that. And I really appreciate that example because, yeah, that's something all of us can do. And of course, wearing a monitor is also an easy thing to do to pay attention. I recently was reading something that said anything that has atoms that vibrate has consciousness. In other words, everything is consciousness. The difference is the level of awareness of consciousness. And I think you've really hit on a very important new aspect of consciousness, which is a lack of consciousness about ourselves, including our physical selves, our physical health and well-being. We're so focused on the outside world. Is there something that helped you shift to really go inside more and notice the physical activities that are happening and the difference that that makes in your life?
Yeah, I think I quite often just stop, just stop and feel and slow down and just try to be aware of myself and my surroundings. It's quite simple, yeah. I try to make things. I'm trying also through my books to simplify, to make it manageable, so that you can actually do things. But don't really need to complicate it. Just stop up and listen. And yeah.
It's really interesting. I receive downloads from the divine all the time. And one of the key messages I received is that love is the blood of the divine. Love is the blood of the divine. If you think about what blood does, it brings oxygen and nutrients to every single part of the body, and it takes away all of the debris, all of the things that have expired their usefulness, and allows that to be recycled through the organs. Love is the blood of the divine, and we are the beating heart of the divine. We are pushing and pulling love through the heart. And I just got this connection between heart rate variability and that kind of self-love, because I think another thing a lot of people struggle with is self-validation, self-awareness, and self-talk. We often are not very kind to ourselves. And certainly when I'm bad-mouthing myself, I can feel my heart rate go up, and that's not doing me any favors.
I'm sure that self-love and negative self-talk is visible in the heart rate. I'm sure there will be research already having been done on that, I'm sure. Because that is what is so interesting, because I tend to go on Google, and find out things. You can Google like any symptom, and then you add heart rate variability, and somebody has done some research on it. Just today, because I'm writing on my new book about rest, one thing I often find out, that is that pain seems to slow down the heart rate and give you a sense of calm. Okay, so I get so many on Instagram, so many messages from people who just wonder, I've been at the dentist, I've been having some painful experience, and my heart rate improved, and my heart rate variability goes better. And I think that pain, maybe it's some endorphins, maybe it's some kind of things that the body does to mitigate the pain. But also, then I thought, a lot of time that I work in the emergency room, I will stitch up self-mutilators, that have cut themselves, and they say that it brings them some kind of calm, that if you ask them, it calms them down. And then I Googled and I found out, yeah, right, there are research showing that the self-mutilations improve the heart rate variability, gives them calm. So maybe some of the solution, would, and you can see that when people, and there are research on people who have suicidal thoughts, that when they have that, it is revealed in the heart rate variability. So if you can, and then they can use these variables, they say in the research, to help them try to find other places to calm them down, then cut yourself or get suicidal, of course.
Yeah.
So,
you also remind me of like transcendental meditation, because there are all kinds of biofeedback. There's all kinds of ways where we deliberately focus on something, like trying to heat up your finger in biofeedback. And the more awareness we give something, the slower the heart rate and the more kind of a meditative state we enter into. Very interesting that when we're stressed out, when we've got a lot going on, that tends to create pain, and that tends to focus our awareness. I'm seeing a connection here. I think this is really interesting. Wow. So, Torkil, I want to get good at this. I want to get better and better at this. Is there kind of a process that you've noticed that people go through as they start to discover what's going on with their variable heart rate and they start to tune into it? Are there baby steps that we can take in addition to the slow, deep breaths and wearing a sensor?
Yeah, I think it's the very good thing about Garmin then is that you can push the button and you can see your stress levels in the moment. And what I try to all the time, or at least particularly in the beginning, is to guess first, what will I see? You know, so you try to feel, what do I feel now? Do I feel stressed or not stressed? And then push the button, you know, and then that will make you better at estimating your stress levels.
So I have another
And
question
get to
for
know
you.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I do have another question for you because it just occurred to me. I mean, like getting to interview you, this is a thrill for me. I'm really having a blast. And my energy's up, right? There's a difference between stress that you're really worried about, frustrated about, irritated, whatever, that kind of stress, versus what's called eustress, which is uplifting, empowering. It's challenging. It's still making you, work, think, and you love it. So is there a difference in heart rate variability between the bad kind of stress and the good kind of stress?
I don't think so. So it will show up in the same way. So whether you are annoyed by your colleague or in love with the colleague, the heart rate will go up anyway. And I think it will seem the same way, whether it's bad or good stress. So, and that's important, the eustress is very important because we are supposed to stress. That was one of my big worries when writing the book, that people would try to not be stressed, but we need to put, strain on ourselves. We need to be challenged, to do hard things, both mentally and physically. We only need to take care that we rest afterwards, that we can recover from it, because we cannot do fun things all the time either, and not sleep well and not rest well. So even, and that I think have brought many people also into a fatigue situation, that they have been doing fun things, too much, and thinking that they're machines that can just go on and on and on. But also the good things, we need to recover from eustress also. So
that's a really important point. That is a really important, because I heard you say in the very beginning that it's truly about balance. Yeah. So all things in proportion.
Yeah, we need to be on and we need to be off, and the most important thing about the rest is also that is good for performance. So if you are scared that the rest time is just like wasted, not productive time, that is not correct. The best, most productive people across genres, business people, sports people, artists, whatever, they have been very good at rest, because that's a creative phase. When you are resting, that's when you get the good ideas, that when you find the solutions to things. Einstein used to be great at rest. He would say, okay, he has been like pondering some problems for a long time, and then he goes out swimming, and then the answer comes to him, and these kind of things. So rest is really, really important, and to find this balance.
I love that. You also made me think of something else, which is the power of visualization. We know that elite athletes and business professionals will take the time to see their bodies moving to accomplish whatever it is they want to accomplish. If you're going into a meeting, I mean, I was preparing to do our interview today, and I had a blast reading through your bio and your book and all this stuff, and got really excited about our conversation. And that was kind of my visualization of the conversation to come. Have you done any evaluation on whether visualization impacts heart rate variability, and whether it's kind of a good news or bad news kind of thing? Just thought I'd ask.
It will probably be that. I remember, the first time, that is probably 10 years ago, the first time I was kind of on live TV, and I got the message that I was going to be on live TV discussing the school system in Norway. I remember just the thought of it, visualizing myself in the studio and the whole Norway watching, my heart rate went through the roof, So, and I just went, all the way until I went into the studio, I just wanted to run away. But then, and the problem, maybe with visualization for most people is that they visualize the catastrophe, they visualize the terrible things, and that is why they refrain from doing it, because all their experiences in their head has just been bad, That is why once you start doing these things, being on the live TV and on podcasts, on all these situations, then you start getting positive experience from it also. You don't only have these bad, visualizations. That is the only thing you have. So probably but it would probably, if you become good at visualization, then you would calm yourself down because you have been there before, So if you have visualized yourself, for example, in front of a lecture with 200 people, that I do all the time. Then I start visualizing. I often go to the arena or the venue so that I can see it, and then I visualize everything going all right, that I can master it. And that is probably a way to calm myself down, So that would probably have this effect. But our visualization is so strong that we can in our brains, we have these mirror neurons that you probably know, that you can probably get. I know a rower, a Norwegian champion rower, and she says that just visualization, while she's visualizing, she can get the same heartbeat as in the actual competition. Just sitting still, she will have the same heart rate.
Amazing.
So, it's a powerful tool. So, and I used to train. I used to be a teacher in photography, and then I tried to teach visualization, that you go out and you visualize what kind of picture do you want. You can compose your picture in your brain. You can compose a session where you kind of go into the family. You want this to happen, this to happen. You can go in and visualize it. It will never happen exactly the same way as you have visualized it, but it will be kind of a preparation that you can do before the session.
So you bring up another question then. Can I visualize my heart rate variability? Can I visualize it where I want it to be as I'm doing deep breaths or that kind of thing? Can I pull myself into alignment more rapidly? I mean, I'm doing that 3 deep breaths, the I am consciousness, and I do that to connect my consciousness with the divine, my consciousness with everyone else that I'm chatting with.
Yeah, probably because that like Indian gurus and so on, they can manipulate their heartbeats up and down. So this is probably kind of a visualization or some way of controlling it. So that would probably be possible. I haven't tried that. Maybe I should.
Hey, cutting edge research done right here. This is amazing. Torkil, I could keep you here all day because this is fascinating stuff. You're truly on the cutting edge of what is possible for humanity. When we pay attention to what's happening inside, there's that language in our bodies that we're just not usually tuned into. Thank you for decoding that message for us. That's really powerful. We always like to turn the tables on our guests here at the Abundance Journey because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. What is something we can do to support you?
To support me, that would of course be to buy the book, to follow me on Instagram, to be a part of what I'm trying to do. We have the website thepolsku.com, where we are trying to make a social website. In Norway, we have 4,000 members. And they are helping each other. I try to make people help other people, so that thousands of people help other thousands of people, on the same level. Of course, on thepolsku.com, we also have like workshops and webinars from experts, but the most important is what they learn from each other. That is also what I've been teaching photography workshops, as I said, and I found out that one thing is what I could teach them, but it was just as important what they could teach each other, when they took pictures and showed what they had been struggling with. And so to this horizontal learning from people to people is so important. So if they want to help me, that would be to join me on those places. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that all of the links are in the show notes so everyone can easily find you, because this is really important. And you actually bring up another good point. See, this is why I want to keep talking to you. We can sync up with each other. We do have those mirror neurons. And so as we connect with each other, chat with each other, even reading something, you can feel the energy that someone puts into their book, into their podcast, into their show notes, into whatever. You can feel the message, and you can sync up your heart rate with theirs for that time that they were doing the writing, right? It's whatever that experience
is. I understand, yeah.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. So it's been a great experience. You're such a good podcaster, I must say.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Stick around. We're going to activate abundance in just a minute. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life so you love every single moment. And then in the Part 3 is Partnering with the Divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Wow, having that conversation with Torkil was really expansive. It's so interesting. I'm trying to get more in touch with my internal awareness, with what my body is trying to tell me, with what messages are coming through. And so often we're really distracted by the outside world. Step 1, gratitude. I am so grateful that Dr. Torkil is doing this research, that he had this epiphany of the power of the heart rate variability and the impact that it has on our lives. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. And I kind of struggled with this because he had so many brilliant things to say. But one of the things that really hit home for me, and I totally agree with this, miracles are already present all around us. In fact, our heart rate is a miracle that we often just ignore because we didn't realize it was a miracle. There's a message here. There's an opportunity for us to tune in and increase our level of awareness. When we tune in to heart rate variability, opportunities open up for us. So that's my big aha, is we have the opportunity to learn the messages of the heart. That was the aha for me. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, he already got to connect the dots to all the illnesses and the issues that we experience in life and how we can overcome them, how we can prevent them from ever happening by being aware of our heart rate variability. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Wow, so excited about that. Step 4, activate it. We've got 3 different ways we can activate it. We can grab a calendar and schedule time to do it. Usually I talk about journaling. I'm going to add using a monitor. Because when we can monitor our stress levels, monitor our variable heart rate, that makes a difference. Awareness is the first step. So I'm going to count that here with scheduling time to do this, okay? And I'm definitely signing up for that. The second way to activate it is with a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, oh yeah, there's a message coming through. You know, I'm going to put my hand on my heart. Or you could put your hand on the carotid artery just to feel the heartbeat and tune in for a second. That's going to be a reminder to me, what's my heart trying to tell me? And listen to the language of my heart. That's a very powerful technique. The third thing that you can do to activate abundance here is to declare what you're going to do, which I just did. I'm going to do the heart rate monitor. I'm going to use that hand on heart. And I'm going to talk to my accountability buddy about this, because your accountability buddy knows you and they can tell when you're following through on something or when you're not. And so when you're really excited about something or you're really angry about something, they can get you to tap into your heart rate again. Notice what's happening in your body. Pay attention to that monitor that you're wearing. What's going on here? Awareness is the first step to transitioning into everything you want in your life. You have to be aware of the blessings and the messages before you can receive them. Step 5, celebrate your progress. Isn't this cool? There's all kinds of ways that you can access abundance, and one of them lives inside your chest and is constantly talking to you and giving you brilliant messages that can enrich you, uplift your life, and heal your body. Wow, that's pretty cool. This is incredible. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Abundance Journey. I will see you next time.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.